Aiden had worked another long shift at the interstellar docking station. He rubbed his tired eyes while walking through the main corridor. The lights above flickered softly, and the distant sound of engines echoed around him. He carried a small toolkit in one hand and a half-finished drink in the other. He thought it would be a normal, quiet evening, just like every other day. But this night would not be normal at all. As Aiden stepped toward the exit gate, he noticed a strange glow in the crowd. People were moving aside, whispering to each other in low voices. Some were staring with wide eyes, while others simply froze in place. Aiden looked up to see what everyone was reacting to. His breath caught in his chest. A tall woman was walking slowly down the corridor. Her skin shined gently, like polished crystal, catching the station lights and reflecting them in soft waves. Her hair seemed to move like strands of bright silver, flowing behind her without wind. But the most striking thing about her were her eyes. They changed color with every breath, blue, green, violet, then back to blue. No one on the station looked anything like her. Aiden had seen many alien travelers. During his years working in the docking station, there were tall ones, short ones, glowing ones, and even others with wings or floating crowns. But this woman was different. She looked like someone carved from another world entirely. She walked with calm confidence, yet there was a kindness in her expression that made people relax even while staring at her in awe. She came straight toward Aiden. He blinked, confused. Out of all the people in the crowded corridor, why was she walking directly toward him? A moment later, she stood only a few steps away. Her presence felt warm and peaceful, almost like sunlight. Even though the air around them was cool, she tilted her head gently, studying his face with soft curiosity. Then she spoke in a calm, smooth voice. "Do you remember me?" Aiden froze. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. He swallowed and tried again. "I'm sorry. I think you may have the wrong person," he said awkwardly. The woman smiled. It was a smile that carried both warmth and mystery. "No," she said quietly. "I am sure it is you." Aiden felt his heart beat a little faster. He tried to think hard. Had he met someone like her before? There was no way he could forget a person who looked this remarkable. Yet no memory came to his mind. He searched her face again, hoping something would become familiar, but nothing did. "I don't remember meeting you," he said honestly. "I'm sorry." She didn't look disappointed. Instead, she stepped closer and lowered her voice so only he could hear. "There are many things you do not remember, but it is all right. Memory does not always follow the same path for everyone." Aiden stared at her, now more confused than before. What was she talking about? Why did she seem to know him? And why did she look at him in a way that felt almost personal? Before he could ask any questions, a deep voice shouted from somewhere in the corridor, "Clear the way. Important visitor." A group of station guards rushed forward, trying to move people aside politely. They did not force anyone. They simply tried to make room. When they saw the glowing woman standing so close to Aiden, their eyes widened in shock. One guard whispered to another, "That has to be her. It matches the description." Another guard nodded nervously. "But why is she here? And why is she talking to a human engineer?" Aiden heard their whispers and felt even more confused. Who was she? And what description were they talking about? She noticed the guards too, but she did not look frightened or annoyed. She simply smiled at Aiden again. "I will not stay long. I only came to see you for a moment." "Me?" Aiden repeated in disbelief. "But why?" The woman didn't answer. Instead, she looked around the station, studying the high ceilings, the metal walls, and the glowing signs. Then she turned back to him. "This station has not changed much," she said softly. "But you have changed." Aiden felt a strange shiver run through him. Her words felt gentle, yet powerful, as if she understood him more than he understood himself. He took a slow breath. "Look," he said carefully, "I don't want to sound rude, but I really don't know who you are." Her eyes slowly shifted to a soft green as she answered, "You will remember in time." Aiden didn't know what to say. Everything about her felt unreal. The way she spoke, the way she looked at him. The way her presence made everyone in the corridor stop and stare at All felt like something from a story, not real life. He tried again. Can you at least tell me your name? She paused for a moment, as if deciding whether to give him a truth or another gentle mystery. Then she said, You may call me Leora, Leora, Aiden repeated quietly. The name felt smooth, almost musical. And how do you know me? Instead of answering directly, she stepped closer. Close enough that he could see tiny, shimmering patterns on her skin like constellations. A long time ago, she said, You helped many people when you did not have to. I was one of them. Aiden frowned. He had helped many travelers, refugees, and visitors during emergencies over the years. There had been fires, power failures, and even moments when entire starships needed quick evacuation. But even thinking back through all that, he still could not remember someone like her. She must have sensed his confusion. It is no fault of yours, she said kindly. You met me when I was not myself. I wore a different form then, and the situation was very chaotic. Aiden thought about her words carefully. A different form? That meant she belonged to an alien species capable of shapeshifting. If that was true, then it made sense he wouldn't recognize her now. Before he could ask more, someone in the crowd pulled up a news hologram. The glowing image showed a tall alien woman with crystal-like skin and changing eyes, just like Leora. The headline read, Galaxy's most striking alien woman seen near outer regions. People around them gasped softly. Some took small steps backward. Suddenly, the station corridor felt even smaller. Aiden realized that this woman wasn't just an unusual visitor. She was someone important, someone who appeared on major galactic news channels. He looked back at her. You're on the news, he said quietly. Leora smiled gently. Yes. Many people notice me, though not always for the right reasons. Aiden's mind raced. He wasn't sure what to think. Was she a celebrity? A political leader? Someone of high rank? But she didn't act like someone who wanted attention. She acted calm, humble, and focused only on him. I only came for a short visit, she said softly. But I needed to see you with my own eyes. Aiden felt another wave of confusion and curiosity mix inside him. Why? He asked again, this time more softly. She looked at him for a long moment, her eyes shifting to a warm golden color. Because there are things you deserve to know, she said. And because our paths are connected, even if you do not remember how. Aiden opened his mouth to ask what she meant, but a small communication device on her wrist flashed. She glanced at it, then nodded as if receiving an important message. It is time, she said quietly. He felt a strange disappointment, even though he didn't fully understand why. Will I see you again? He asked. Yes, she replied with a gentle smile. Sooner than you think. Her words felt like a promise, soft and certain. Then she stepped back, the crowd slowly parting for her. As she walked away, people stared with awe and confusion. Aiden watched until she vanished into the upper walkway. Only when she disappeared did he breathe again. He didn't know who she truly was. He didn't know why she remembered him. And he didn't know what soon meant. But he knew one thing for sure. His quiet life at the docking station was about to change forever. Aiden could not stop thinking about Leora even hours after she left. He tried fixing a damaged power line, tried checking the docking schedules, even tried distracting himself by talking to coworkers, but nothing worked. Her glowing skin, her shifting eyes, her calm voice, they stayed in his mind like an echo. He sat at a metal bench near the lower hangar, staring at the floor, while tapping his fingers restlessly. The station's machines hummed around him, and the cool air brushed against his face. Normally, this place made him feel peaceful. But tonight, his thoughts refused to settle. Did he really help her long ago? Why couldn't he remember? Why did she seem so certain about him? While he was thinking, his coworker Jox walked over carrying a stack of tools. Jox was older and liked to joke about everything, but right now, he looked unusually serious. I heard something interesting, Jox said, sitting beside him. Aiden raised an eyebrow. About what? About that woman who came to see you, Jox replied. Everyone is talking about it. Red sighed. He should have expected that. Someone that striking, walking through a busy station was bound to become a topic for the day. People are saying she's some kind of royal visitor, Jocks continued. Maybe even someone from those outer star kingdoms. Aiden shook his head. I don't know what she is. She just said her name was Leora. Jocks leaned closer. But why would someone like her come here? And why walk straight to you? Aiden had no answer. He shrugged. She said I helped her once, but I can't remember when or how. Jocks stared at him with wide eyes. You? You helped her, Aiden? She looks like someone who lives on a shining planet made of gold. What would she be doing needing help from a human engineer? Aiden gave a small laugh. Jocks wasn't wrong. Aiden was just an ordinary worker. He fixed machines. He moved cargo. Didn't do anything special. Still, the way Leora looked at him, it felt like she knew him better than he knew her. Before Aiden could say more, a sudden shout came from across the hangar. Someone yelled, Aiden, come look at this. Aiden and Jocks stood up quickly and walked toward the group, gathering around a floating holoscreen. The screen showed a news update from a galactic channel. The image displayed the same glowing woman. Aiden saw earlier Leora, but this time she wore beautiful formal clothing. Her skin sparkled brighter, and her hair looked longer, flowing like silver smoke. A big title flashed across the screen. The galaxy's most striking alien woman sighted again. Then the announcer's voice spoke clearly. She is believed to be connected to a powerful royal empire. Many worlds have tried to identify her exact title, but her identity remains unconfirmed. Aiden felt his stomach tighten. Everyone in the room stared at the screen, then slowly turned their eyes toward him. Embarrassed, he rubbed the back of his neck. Jocks whispered Aiden, your visitor is on the Galaxy News. I know, Aiden mumbled. The announcer continued. She was last seen near the Outer Region docking station, the same one where sightings were reported earlier today. Everyone in the hangar gasped and looked at Aiden again. Some with curiosity, others with amazement. A few even stepped closer to ask questions. Aiden, is she really your friend? How do you know someone that important? What did she want from you? Are you in trouble? Aiden raised both hands. Calm down. I don't know anything more than you. She talked to me for a few minutes. That's all. But they didn't look convinced. They kept whispering among themselves. Aiden needed air. He quietly slipped out of the crowd and walked toward the quieter part of the station, the maintenance tunnels. These tunnels were narrow and dim, with small lights on each side. Most workers avoided them unless they needed to fix something. For Aiden, the tunnels always felt peaceful. He leaned against the wall and closed his eyes. Why would someone who appears on Galaxy News come all the way here just to talk to him? Was she really someone important? Why did she tell him he had forgotten things? A soft sound echoed behind him. Footsteps. Aiden opened his eyes quickly and turned around. For a moment he thought it might be Leora again, but instead he saw a tall figure wearing a dark uniform. It was Rin, one of the station guards. You all right? Rin asked. Aiden nodded. Just needed a break. Rin didn't look convinced. We've had visitors from many worlds, but someone like her? That's rare. She didn't behave like a traveler. She moved like someone who knows this place, or someone who is used to being followed. Aiden listened carefully. Rin had always been observant, and the way she looked at you, Rin continued, like she already knew you. That wasn't normal. Aiden exhaled slowly. I know. I felt the same. Rin crossed his arms. Be careful, Aiden. People who come with a lot of mysteries usually bring trouble too. Aiden didn't argue. He knew Rin was speaking from experience. After Rin left, Aiden walked back through the tunnel toward the main hallway. He decided to stop thinking for a while and return to his duties. But as he stepped out of the tunnel, his small wrist communicator buzzed. The message read, Meet me in the old storage wing. Come alone. Ladain's heart jumped. Was it really her? How did she send a message to his device? No one outside. The station usually had access to such communication channels. He didn't hesitate. Curiosity pulled him forward. He followed the narrow hallways until he reached the old storage wing, a place hardly used anymore. Dust covered the floor, and the lights flickered softly. A tall figure stood in the shadows. Aiden stepped closer. Leora. She turned around slowly, her glowing skin lighting up the dark room. A small smile appeared on her face. Thank you for coming. Aiden approached, still confused but strangely calm. How did you send that message? Leora lifted her wrist, showing a small device. Your station's technology is simple. It was not difficult. Aiden didn't know whether to be impressed or worried. He looked around the empty room. Why meet here? Because I needed to speak to you without anyone watching, she replied. People are paying too much attention outside. Aiden nodded. That was true. After the news update, everyone was watching him. Leora stepped closer, her eyes shifting to soft blue. Earlier, I told you that you helped me once. I want to explain. Aiden felt his chest tighten. He had been waiting for this. She took a slow breath. Many years ago, I was traveling through a dangerous region. My ship was damaged during a conflict. I had to disguise myself and hide among the refugees. The station you worked in was one of the emergency stops. Adon listened carefully. You were the only one who noticed something was wrong, she continued. You helped organize the evacuation. You made sure everyone got food and water. You fixed damaged doors with your own hands. You brought calm when there was fear. Aiden tried to remember, but the memory was blurry half-images, not clear. Leora smiled gently. You even helped me directly. I wore a different form then, but you still came to me. You told me it would be all right. Aiden felt warmth in his chest. He didn't remember exactly, but he knew he had always tried to help anyone in trouble. It was part of who he was. Why did you hide your identity back then? Aiden asked softly. Leora looked away for a moment. Because revealing who I was would have caused more danger. I had enemies searching for me. I needed to stay hidden until it was safe. Aiden nodded slowly. Her calm voice carried the weight of years of secrecy. Then why come now? He asked. Her eyes shifted into a golden glow. Because times are changing. Because I need someone I can trust. Someone neutral. Someone honest. Someone like you. Maiden's breath caught. Why me? Before she answered, a loud sound echoed from the hallway footsteps. Multiple people approaching. Leora's expression tightened. You must continue this later, she whispered. You will understand more soon. Before Aiden could say anything, her body shimmered like a soft wave of light, and she vanished into the shadows, moving faster than he could believe. A moment later, station officers entered the storage wing. Aiden, were you here alone? One asked. Aiden nodded slowly, his mind spinning. Leora knew him. She trusted him, and something important, maybe dangerous, was happening around her. His quiet, ordinary life was slowly turning into something far bigger than he ever imagined. Aiden barely slept that night. He kept replaying everything in his mind, her words, her calm voice, the way she appeared in shadows, the soft glow that followed her everywhere. Leora said he helped her in the past. She said she needed someone she could trust. But trust for what? And why choose him, an ordinary engineer with a simple life? The next morning, Aiden walked through the docking station feeling tired but alert. Every sound seemed louder. Every face seemed to be watching him. And maybe they weren't news about Leora was still spreading quickly. People looked at Aiden with curiosity, some whispering as he passed. He went straight to his workshop and tried to focus on repairing a damaged control panel. But his hands kept slowing down. His mind wandered again and again to Leora's words. There are things you deserve to know. Suddenly, his small communicator buzzed. For a moment, his heart jumped, thinking it might be Leora again. But when he checked, it was just a message from the station office asking him to check a broken door in the maintenance wing. He sighed, grabbed his tools, and headed out. The maintenance wing was always quiet, and today it felt even quieter. Aiden reached the broken door, checked the wires, and started repairing them. His hands finally moved with rhythm, and for a moment, he felt normal again, but that moment didn't last. A soft noise echoed behind him, like a light footstep. Aiden turned quickly, already expecting her. She was there. Leora stood near the end of the hallway, her glowing skin softly lighting the dim corridor. Her eyes shimmered in gentle violet today, calm and thoughtful. Aiden took a step toward her. You came back? Leora nodded. I said you would see me soon. He let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. I have so many questions. And I will answer them, Leora said softly. But come. This place is not safe for long conversations. Aiden followed her to a small side room used for storing old tools. It wasn't fancy, but it was empty, quiet, and hidden from busy hallways. Leora stood in the center of the room, her glow reflecting off the dusty walls. She looked directly at Aiden. "You helped me once. Now I must tell you the truth." Aiden waited patiently, his heartbeat steady but fast. Leora took a slow breath. "Years ago, during the star system collapse, my transport ship was attacked. My world was in danger and I was traveling under disguise to avoid being captured. I escaped into a refugee ship that arrived here." Aiden's memory flickered. He remembered the evacuation. He remembered frightened travelers. He remembered helping many people, calming them, giving water, fixing broken lights. He remembered exhaustion, but also purpose. "You were there," Leora continued. "You moved through the crowd helping everyone you could. You didn't look at species or rank. You didn't ask questions. You simply helped." Aiden nodded slowly. "I remember parts of that day, but not clearly." Leora stepped closer. "You came to me when my disguise failed for a moment. Only for a second. My true form showed and you saw it." Aiden blinked. "I saw you." "Yes," she said gently. "Just for a heartbeat. But you did not fear me. You didn't run. You didn't ask who I was. You simply handed me a blanket and told me I was safe." Aiden felt a warm feeling inside his chest. He didn't remember it perfectly, but it sounded like something he would do. "I was being hunted," Leora continued. "If anyone realized who I was at that time, panic would have broken out. But you treated me like a normal traveler. That small kindness protected me." Aiden looked down, humbled. "I didn't know it meant so much. It meant everything," Leora said softly. A silence followed, calm but full of meaning. Then Aiden asked the question, sitting heavy on his mind. "Why do you need me now?" Leora's eyes shifted into a deep, steady blue. "Because the same danger from years ago has returned. Someone powerful wants to destabilize my world again. I do not know who it is, but I know the threat is real, and I cannot trust many people." Aiden frowned. "But I'm just an engineer. What can I do?" "You're honest," she said. "Unafraid, neutral. You have no ties to any galactic groups or politics. That makes you valuable, and your kindness is rare." Aiden felt heat rise to his face. No one had ever spoken to him like that. Leora continued. "I need help investigating. There are clues hidden in places like this station, old logs and old travel records. Someone has been sending false information across the galaxy. Someone is trying to stir conflict." Aiden rubbed his chin. "And you think I can help find out who?" "Yes," she said with confidence. "Your station is one of the last places my enemies used. They left traces here. I cannot search openly, or it will draw attention. But you can." Aiden felt a mix of fear and determination. This was far bigger than anything he had ever faced. But Leora's trust made him want to try. "What exactly do you need me to do?" he asked. Leora stepped closer. "I need you to access old station logs from the time of the evacuation years ago. Someone erased parts of the data, but pieces remain. You can find them." Aiden nodded. That was something he could do. He worked with station systems daily. He could move through files unnoticed. But something else bothered him. He looked at her carefully and asked, "Why tell me all this? Why not your people? Or your guards? Or someone from your world?" Leora looked down for a moment, then lifted her eyes again. "Because I am not just anyone from my world. My position makes people act differently around me. They do not speak freely. They do not show their true intentions." Aiden felt a chill. "Are you saying someone close to you might be involved?" Leora didn't answer directly, but the silence was enough. Then Aiden asked quietly, "Who are you really, Leora?" Leora closed her eyes, as if preparing herself for the truth. When she opened them again, they glowed in soft gold. "Aiden," she said gently, "my true name is far longer than the one I told you. Leora is the short form. In full, I am Leora Selvarin, first daughter of the Celestian throne." Aiden stared at her, unable to speak for a moment. "The Celestian throne. But that means yes," she said softly. "I am the queen." Aiden's breath caught. He stepped back slightly, stunned. The Queen, the ruler of dozens of worlds. The woman in the news everyone spoke about. The one whose image was shown across the galaxy, and she was standing in a dusty storage room, talking to him like a friend. But why come alone? He asked quietly. Because if anyone knew I was here, the danger would grow, she answered. Only my closest advisors know. And even then, I do not know who to trust. Aiden felt overwhelmed. But he also felt a deep sense of responsibility now. She trusted him with something extraordinary, and he didn't want to let her down. What happens if we fail? He asked. Leora looked at him calmly. Then many worlds may suffer, and people like youth, the innocent ones, will be caught in the chaos. Aiden stepped forward, steadying his voice. Then I'll help you. Whatever you need. Leora's eyes warmed into a soft green. I knew you would say that. Before they could say more, a loud alarm echoed through the hallway outside. Someone shouted, "Unauthorized presence detected in storage wing." Leora's eyes widened slightly. They are searching for me. Aiden panicked. What do we do? Leora lifted a hand. Her skin glowed brighter, and her voice became calm again. Do not worry. I can leave unseen. A moment later, her body shimmered like light passing through water. Then she slowly faded, becoming transparent, then invisible. Aiden stood alone in the dusty room, his heart pounding. Guards ran in seconds later. Aiden, did you see anyone? Aiden shook his head. No, I was just checking old equipment. The guards nodded and rushed away. When the noise faded, Aiden took a deep breath and whispered to himself, how did my life become like this? But he knew the truth. He was now part of something important, and the Queen Leora was counting on him. Part 4 begins with a strange silence inside the old space station. After the truth was revealed that the women he purchased only to free were actually the daughters of the alien queen, and felt the weight of 1,000 unanswered questions pressing on his heart. The 3 daughters, Lyra, Syrah, and Nema, stood close to him now, not because they were afraid, but because they trusted him more than anyone else in that moment. That trust surprised him. He had met them only days ago. Yet somehow, their eyes showed a calm belief that he would help them no matter what came next. Yuen kept walking down the long metallic hallway, listening carefully. The station lights flickered every few seconds, and each time they did, the sisters moved a little closer to him. He tried to make his voice soft and steady as he said, We'll reach the main dock soon. Once we get there, I'll signal the rescue teams. Your mother will know you're safe. But Lyra gently placed a hand on his arm and said, You still do not understand. Sending a signal will not be simple. Someone blocked communications on purpose. Her words made unpause. Blocked by who? He asked quietly. Syrah stepped forward this time. The same group who captured us in the first place. They never left. They are still somewhere in this station searching for us. If they find us again, they will not let us escape. An felt a cold wave move through his chest. Not fear, just a heavy responsibility. He knew he was an ordinary trader, not a hero, not a fighter. But he had made a promise the moment he decided to free them. He wasn't going to break that promise now. He took a slow breath and looked at the 3 sisters. Then we stay together, he said calmly. No matter what happens, we stay together until you are home. Nema, the youngest, smiled up at him with grateful eyes. You speak like someone who has carried heavy things before, she said in her gentle voice. Not with your hands, but with your heart. The words touched him more deeply than he expected. They started moving again, staying quiet, watching every corner. As they neared the docking area, a faint humming sound filled the air. It was the ship's main power core starting to stabilize. That meant someone else was controlling the system. Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Yuen motioned for them to stop. Wait here, he whispered. He stepped ahead slowly and peeked around the corner. What he saw confused him. A short figure was crouched near a control panel, working quickly with tools. Not a guard. Not an enemy. It was an engineer, a young alien boy with large round eyes and shaky hands. He looked terrified when Un stepped forward. Don't be afraid, Un said softly. holding his hands up to show he meant no harm. Are you fixing the communications panel? The young engineer nodded quickly. I am trying, he stuttered. I heard someone crying earlier in the station. I realized the Queen's daughters must still be here. I knew I had to help. But the system is too damaged. I can open a small emergency signal, but only for a short moment. Sira and Lyra came forward, their faces filled with relief. Nima gently touched the engineer's shoulder in gratitude. Can you send a message to our mother? Lyra asked. The boy nodded again. Yes. But only if someone manually holds the power line in place. It is unstable, it sparks. It is dangerous. Before anyone else could speak, Un stepped toward the panel. I'll hold it, he said simply. The sisters immediately objected. No, you cannot. Sira cried. Your hands will burn. Your skin is not made for this type of energy, Lyra added anxiously. You do not have to do this, Nima whispered. But Un only shook his head. You three deserve to go home. If all it takes is holding a cable, then I'll do it. The engineer hesitated. If you really want to help, then take this glove. It will protect you a little. Un pulled the thick insulated glove on his right hand, though he knew a little protection wasn't much. He braced himself, grabbed the cable, and felt a sharp jolt run through his arm. It wasn't painful enough to make him let go, but it was enough to show him that the kid wasn't exaggerating. Send the signal, said through clenched teeth. The engineer quickly typed on the control panel. The system made a loud, buzzing sound, then a small red light turned green. We have 10 seconds. The engineer shouted. Lyra stepped forward and leaned close to the microphone. Mother, she said quickly, we are safe. We are with someone who helped us. We are on the abandoned mining station near the I.O. corridor. Please hurry. Static crackled loudly, then the signal ended. The green light faded. Ren let go of the cable and stumbled back. His right arm was numb. The glove had several burned marks, but his hand was mostly unharmed. The sisters rushed to him, worried, but he smiled faintly. We did it, said. Before they could celebrate, a sudden metallic thud echoed through the hallway. Then another. Heavy footsteps. Slow, steady, coming closer. The young engineer's eyes widened with fear. They heard the signal, he whispered. They are coming. Nima grabbed Aaron's sleeve tightly. What do we do now? Un looked around the dock, searching for ideas, and then he saw the maintenance pod. A small ship, barely big enough for 4 people, but fast and easy to control. He turned to the sisters and said, We get to that pod. Once we're inside, no one can stop us. They nodded without hesitation. Together, they ran toward the pod as the footsteps grew louder. The engineer stayed behind, working to slow down whoever was coming. The last thing Ewan saw before entering the pod was the brave boy pulling wires from the walls to create a barrier spark. Inside the pod, the space was tight but safe. Un switched on the engines. The pod vibrated and hummed as power surged through it. Hold on, he said softly. The door slid shut. The pod lifted, and with a burst of light, it shot forward through the docking tunnel, away from the station and into open space. The 3 sisters looked out the window, their eyes shining with hope. Yuen looked ahead. Steering carefully, they didn't know what awaited them, but they knew this. The Queen had heard. Her voice's help was on the way, and the journey was far from over. Part 5 begins with the small maintenance pod speeding through open space. The stars outside looked like tiny white sparks on a dark cloth. The 3 daughters watched quietly, hoping their mother would arrive soon. Un kept his hands on the controls, guiding the pod with steady focus. He had never flown this type of ship before. But something inside him kept telling him that he just had to try, and he just had to do it right. After everything that had happened, he couldn't fail the sisters now. Nima was the first one to speak after several minutes of silence. Do you think my mother heard the message? She asked softly. Yuen glanced at her through the reflection in the glass. She definitely heard you, he answered gently. Your voice was strong. No parent could ignore that. Lyra placed a comforting arm around her younger sister's shoulders. Mother always said that when we speak with our hearts, The universe listens, she said. I believe she is already on her way. Sira tightened the safety band around her waist and took a slow breath. We just have to stay calm until she reaches us. Though Yuan was trying to stay calm himself, a quiet worry sat in the back of his mind. The pod was small, built for short-distance travels. The power level was dropping more quickly than he expected. If they didn't meet the Queen's ship soon, the pod might lose power completely. He didn't say this out loud because he did not want to frighten the sisters. But he kept checking the energy meter again and again. Hoping it would somehow hold steady, the small pod drifted past a glowing belt of dust and tiny rocks. The soft blue light from the dust field filled the inside of the pod, making everything look calm and peaceful for a moment. Nima leaned her face against the window and whispered, "It looks like home." Un turned slightly. "What does your home look like?" he asked, trying to shift their minds to a more comforting place. Sira smiled gently as she answered, "Our home is filled with crystal gardens that shine at night. The air smells like sweet blossoms, and the rivers glow with soft light." Many travelers think they are dreaming when they visit, Lyra added. Our mother always says the beauty of home is not just in how it looks, but in how safe it feels. Those words touched Un deeply. Safety was something he had chased all his life but rarely found. He wondered what it would feel like to stand in a place where every corner felt safe, peaceful, welcoming. That thought settled warmly inside his chest. But the soft moment didn't last long. A loud beeping sound suddenly filled the pod. The engine light flashed red. Aaron's eyes widened. "The power is dropping faster than I thought," he said, unable to hide it anymore. "We might lose thrust in a few minutes." The sisters exchanged anxious looks, but none of them panicked. Lyra placed a gentle hand on Aaron's arm. "You have done everything you could," she said softly. "We trust you." Un looked at her, surprised. "You trust me? Even now?" Sira nodded firmly. "You risked your life to protect us. You guided us out of that place. You did more than anyone else has ever done for us," Nima added, "and you never once asked for anything in return." Yuan felt his throat tighten slightly. For the first time in a long while, he felt truly seen. The pod suddenly shook gently as the engine lost a small amount of power. The stars outside began to blur as the ship slowed. Eon tightened his grip on the controls, but he knew there wasn't much he could do now. Then, just when it seemed the pod might drift helplessly into open space, a bright golden light appeared in the distance. At first it looked like a star, but then it grew larger, widening into a shape smooth, curved, powerful. Glowing with a soft gold aura, Nima gasped, her eyes filling with tears. "Mother's ship," she whispered. The golden ship moved gracefully toward them, large enough to dwarf the tiny maintenance pod. It was shaped like a crescent moon, with swirling patterns etched along its sides. As it approached, the soft glow grew stronger, surrounding the pod with warm, comforting light. Yuan stared in awe. "That is the Queen's ship?" he asked quietly. Lyra nodded proudly. "Yes, it is called the Solara." It responds only to her voice. A deep, melodic sound filled the space around them, like gentle bells ringing across the stars. The golden ship extended a docking arm toward the pod. Un guided the pod as best he could, and within moments, the docking arm locked onto their small vessel. Pulling them safely inside, the pod came to a stop inside a bright docking chamber. The doors opened with a soft hiss, and warm air flowed in. Carrying a scent like fresh flowers and sunlight, standing at the entrance was the Queen. She was tall, graceful, and surrounded by a soft golden glow, as if light lived inside her. Her eyes shone with both strength and deep tenderness. The moment she saw her daughters, her expression broke into relief and emotion. "My children." She whispered. Lyra, Sira, and Nima ran into her arms, and she wrapped all three of them in a tight embrace. Tears flowed down their faces, not of sadness, but overwhelming joy. Ian looked away respectfully, giving them their moment. His heart felt full seeing them reunited, after a long embrace. The Queen slowly lifted her gaze toward you, and she stepped forward. Her daughter standing beside her, still holding onto her hands, There was deep gratitude in her eyes. "You are the one who saved them," she said softly. Her voice was warm, soothing, and carried a kind of strength that made Un stand straighter. "I just tried to help," Un said humbly. The queen shook her head gently. "You did more than try. You protected them when they had no one else. You guided them through danger. And you did so, not for reward, but out of kindness. Such a heart is rare." Ewan felt a quiet heat rise in his cheeks. "I only wanted to do what was right." The queen placed a hand over her heart. "Because you did what was right, my family is whole again." Nima stepped forward and took Aaron's hand. "Mother," she said sweetly, "Ewan didn't walk away even when things were difficult. He stayed with us. He gave us hope." The queen looked at her daughters, then back at Ewan. "Then he has earned the gratitude of an entire kingdom." Ewan didn't know what to say. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. For a man who lived a quiet, simple life, the idea of being thanked by a queen felt unreal. The queen looked at him thoughtfully. She said gently, "would you like to visit our home? You are welcome there as a friend." Ewan hesitated. 100 doubts ran through his mind. He was just a trader, just a simple man with simple roots. But then he looked at Lyra, Sira, and Nima, who were smiling warmly at him, their faces full of trust. He smiled back. "Yes," he said softly. "I would like that very much." The sisters cheered quietly, filled with joy. And the queen nodded with approval, as they all walked together toward the heart of the ship. The golden lights around them shimmered like dawn. For the first time in a long while, Ewan felt that he wasn't just traveling through the universe. He was moving toward a place where he finally belonged, and he knew, without any doubt, that this was only the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one filled with peace, friendship, and hope.